Hey guys, so let's talk about last night's episode of Once Upon a Time. That was very Snow White centered, which I thought was kind of interesting. Very interesting to see her as like a kid. All of the flashbacks like to the Enchanted Forest, or of Snow when she was younger, and her mom, and you see how her mom died, and you kind of really see the birth of the goodness in Snow White. You know, you see why she's that person who always wants to make the right decision and wants to see good in other people, because I mean, I think she really wants to see that good in Regina. She really kind of tries to pull that out of her quite a lot. And so we kind of see where that comes from, which is really from her mother. So that was really interesting, I thought. Of course, Cora and Regina are just like on the evil path this week, you guys. They made me so angry in this episode. I mean, I was so mad at them. Obviously, you know, after the last episode, you know, their big goal was to find Mr. Gold's dagger. Because I guess if they find the dagger, once Mr. Gold gets back to Storybrooke, they'll be able to use the dagger to control him, to do whatever they want, or they could actually like take his power. They could become, one of them could become the Dark One, which you really get that, you know, that is what Cora is after. She's after power, you know, and I think Regina really is starting to see that after this episode. So in Storybrooke, we get that it's Snow's birthday and that she hates her birthday. She doesn't like to celebrate her birthday. Eventually we find out why, because her mother gets sick, and from the looks of it, she died like on her birthday. So, you know, or really close to it. So very sad. And, so yeah, she doesn't like to celebrate her birthday, but what happens is she figures out that this woman, Johanna, who was her, like, nursemaid, nanny, or, like, helper back in, when she was a kid, back in the Enchanted Forest, she finds out that she's actually in Storybrooke, which I find fascinating that she hasn't actually seen her up until this point, but, you know, welcome to Storybrooke. So, Johanna shows up, and they have this moment together where they're, like, remembering Snow's mom. And, you know, by the end of the episode, the woman is dead, which was just traumatizing. Because once Mary Margaret and David find out, you know, what Regina and her mom are up to, they decide they need to find the dagger first to kind of keep it safe. So they call Emma, and they're just like, you need to tell him that they're looking for it. He needs to tell us where it's at so we can protect it. He tells them, and it's in the clock tower, so they race up to get it. But it's all a trap, because isn't it always? And then, you know, here come the two evil twins show up to steal it back. And they've got Johanna with them. And it's like, Snow has to make that decision again. You know, should I do the right thing and save Johanna? Because, you know, Regina reaches in and snatches this woman's heart out. And so, of course, she makes the right decision. And they end up getting the dagger because they trade it for Johanna. But then Cora, in all her evilness, like tosses this woman out the window. So she dies anyway. So it was just very traumatic. But I feel like the real purpose of this episode was to show us, you know, like I said, that origin of the goodness in Snow White. But now, to see her where she's at now, especially after Johanna dies, she's really kind of at the point where she's like, what has being good gotten me? You know, like, I always make the right decision. I always try to make the right choice. But, like, every time I make the right decision, I'm just getting pain, basically. Like, I'm not getting anything good. So Snow's at the point where she's kind of like, maybe I need to, like, buck up a little bit. And you get that Snow is, like, I think really kind of playing with the thought of going dark side a little bit. Because by the end of the episode, she tells David, I'm gonna kill Cora. And that's just like, that's a problem, of course. That is not Snow White behavior. Now, back in New York, you know, with Emma and Henry and Bay and Mr. Gold, Hook shows up, of course, because he's Hook. He catches Mr. Gold, who, of course, has no magic at this point. He stabs him with his hook, which turns out has poison in it. So not only is he stabbed, but he's got poison in the wound. And so they're like racing to try to figure out what to do, and that's when they're like, we've got to get back to Storybrooke because there's no magic here to heal you, so we've got to get you back to Storybrooke, right? Now, I also want to mention as well that poor Hook, man. It's like he gets to stab Mr. Gold, but then Emma like knocks him out in like one felt swoop. So it's just like, Hook he gets to be like badass for a second, and then like the next second someone is knocking him out. This man has got like the eternal concussion. So once again he gets taken out really easily, which I just find very fascinating. So the plan is to steal his ship to get back to Storybrooke because Mr. Gold tells them that that's going to be the quickest way. We also learn a few things about Bay as well. I mean, like, one of the big things is we get that he's got a fiance, because at the very end before they leave she shows up. And it's kind of like, booyah, I got a fiance, here she is. And it was just kind of like uncomfortable. But the other thing we find out is that, you know, like when it comes down to, okay, we're going to take the ship home, Emma's like, I don't know how to sail a pirate ship, how are we going to do that? And he's like, I can do it. So you get that there's some other stuff going on with him that we haven't quite understood or learned yet. And Mr. Gold is really big, really like keen on getting him to come back to Storybrooke, you know, and he's like pushing Emma, you know, you just talk to him, get him to come back for Henry and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But you get that he wants him to come back for himself, not necessarily for Henry. He's just, you know, that's just a reason because he wants his son close to him, basically. Yeah, I thought this was a good episode. It definitely felt like this episode was setting us up for what's to come. Like, the previews for next week look amazing, because somebody's gonna die, obviously, like a pretty big character. So I guess we'll see who that is. But it felt more than like just a setup for that. It felt like a setup for a really good character arc for Snow's character. You know, as she kind of deals with the whole question of, do I continue to do good, or do I do whatever needs to be done to save the people that I love, even if that means doing bad things. So, I mean, I really hope that they do a good job of kind of taking her character through that arc, because I think it makes it interesting and makes her interesting. So I'm excited to see what they do there. I'm excited as well. I mean, like, is Bay gonna stay in Storybrooke? I'll be excited to see what happens there. Yeah, I don't necessarily feel like any real chemistry between him and Emma. I know some people are already like on that ship, but I'm not there. But I mean, I think obviously that'd be good for Henry, so I guess we'll see what will happen there. That's it for me today, you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.